Every myth has an official story. But is it the truth? Let's find out. Welcome back to Myth Detective. There is an island in Greek mythology that sailors speak of only in terrified whispers. An island surrounded not by reefs, but by the bleached bones and rotting timbers of countless ships. It is the home of the Sirens, beautiful, bird-like women whose enchanting song is an inescapable death sentence. Lured by their perfect melody, sailors would crash their ships upon the rocks. Their final moments filled with a beautiful, deadly music. The case seems simple. The Sirens were monstrous predators. But what if this is a lie? What if their song was not a lure, but a lament? What if these monsters were actually mythology's first and most tragically slandered victims? Today, we are not investigating a monster. We are investigating a character assassination. A cold case that has remained unsolved for 3,000 years to uncover the secret sorrow of the Sirens. The primary accusation against the Sirens is that they are monsters of seduction, using their divine voices as a lure to satisfy a hunger for death and destruction. The most famous testimony comes from the hero Odysseus. To survive, he ordered his men to plug their ears with beeswax, and then had them tie him tightly to the ship's mast, forbidding them from releasing him, no matter how much he begged. As they sailed past, he heard their song, a promise of hidden knowledge and divine pleasure. And he was driven mad, screaming and struggling against his bonds, desperate to steer the ship to his doom. This account has defined the Sirens for millennia as beautiful, evil predators whose only purpose is to destroy men through their own weakness and desire. But this accusation, like so many others, only tells one side of the story and completely ignores their tragic past. The key evidence that shatters this accusation is their forgotten origin story. The Sirens were not always monsters. In the beginning, they were beautiful nymphs, the loyal handmaidens and playmates of Persephone, the goddess of spring. One fateful day, while they were gathering flowers in a meadow, Persephone was violently abducted by Hades, the king of the underworld. The Sirens were helpless to stop it. When Persephone's mother, the powerful harvest goddess Demeter, arrived to find her daughter gone, she was consumed by a grief that turned into a cold, misdirected rage. She did not punish the kidnapper, Hades, or the mastermind, Zeus. Instead, she punished the witnesses. She blamed the Sirens for their failure to protect her daughter and inflicted a terrible curse upon them. She twisted their beautiful human forms, giving them the bodies and wings of birds, but cruelly leaving them with their human heads. An enchanting voice said constant, mocking reminder of the beauty they had lost. They were not born monsters. They were made into them by the injustice of a grieving goddess. This brings us to the very nature of their song. The traditional story says it was a song of seduction. But our investigation suggests a more tragic interpretation. The siren song was not a lure for sailors, but an eternal lament. It was a song of profound grief for their lost mistress, Persephone. It was a song of sorrow for their own lost beauty and humanity. And perhaps it was a song of warning, an attempt to tell the world about the terrible things the gods were capable of. The reason sailors were drawn to it was not because it promised pleasure, but because its pure, concentrated sorrow was so powerful it resonated with the hidden grief in every human heart, driving them mad with an empathy they could not handle. They didn't crash their ships because of lust. They crashed them because they were overwhelmed by the most beautiful and most tragic song ever sung. It was a weapon they were forced to wield. And so, the song of the sirens fades into the mists of history, leaving us with a final, haunting truth. They were not predators. They were prisoners, victims of a god's crime and another god's cruel injustice, cursed to live as monsters and forever sing of their profound sorrow. So why is their legend one of monstrous seduction? The answer likely lies with the survivors. Imagine being a sailor like Odysseus, the only one to hear that song and live. What story do you tell? Do you admit that you and your men were driven mad by a melody of unbearable sadness, a display of what sailors might see as emotional weakness? Or do you create a tale of monstrous, seductive temptresses, reframing a tragic encounter as a heroic victory against evil? The legend of the evil siren is the ultimate act of propaganda, a story told to protect the pride of men. In some myths, it was prophesied the sirens would die if any sailor heard their song and passed. Odysseus's triumph was their suicide. They were not monsters to be defeated, but a tragedy to be witnessed.